In today's world, we're having a hard time with movies being relatable. But what is the fault here? Is it money? Is it trends? Is it social culture, political correctness? What's the issue that is making these movies not so great? Well, if you agreed with all of the things that I just said, you would be correct. All the things that are pointed out here are the reasons why these movies are not doing so hot. Because a lot of people want to push agendas. They want to push political correctness. They want to push to stop stereotyping, all these things. And the thing is, we cannot tell a story by pushing an agenda or a political correctness into someone by force. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be a resistance and it's not going to be good. So how do we go about telling great stories? Well, I have a great answer for you. Human nature. Now, I made a conclusion with human nature being the key to the next step to the evolution of the film world. Now, there's a lot of variables that make this movie industry very difficult to even have success, starting with COVID-19. And the next thing is streaming services. There's a multifaceted of streaming services out there that you can literally leave one for another and not even care. And this makes it difficult for movies to succeed in the theaters, to even make sales out of the theaters, and a bunch of other things that go with it. It's just like a ripple on and on. So how do movies go about telling great stories without trying to feel salesy, put in trends, influencers, or people who sponsor all this stuff just to make a buck? My conclusion to all of this is to target, once again, making story king. But how do we make story king? How do we come back to that? Well, my response is human nature. And why human nature? Well, human nature is actually, for me, the balance or the glue that combines all these things that people want to talk about into a storytelling piece. It literally talks about our humanity. It talks about humans, what they are, who they are, and different cultures, a variety of different cultures, into a single base of unity. And you're probably asking, well, how in the world does human nature do that? Well, I'm about to explain that to you because it's very, very important for you to understand. But let's start off with stereotypes. Now, stereotypes for me at a point were crucial. It was necessary in order for us to understand. But the more that I kept digging into it, it was starting to sound that it came from somewhere else. Stereotypes don't just show up because movies have been passing them for years. No, and throughout our history, we've had stereotypes. We had people who were in poverty who became stereotypes, certain clothing, certain way of speaking, certain manner of acting, and then the upper class. Upper class had a certain way of dressing, a certain way of acting, and pretty much within their own cultures, they had different levels of importance. That created even more stereotypes. So what I did is I searched throughout history to see if there was a connection, to see if there was something that put everything together. But I also went to literature. What did literature talk about? What did literature say? Back to the old stories that were so well written. And I came to the conclusion that the only thing that comes close to putting anything together like an atom is the human nature. What is the human nature? Well, human nature for me, as my simple explanation, is things that make us humans. For example, if you are feeling hungry, what happens to you? You start either getting desperate, you start getting angry, different ways of emotions and feelings that start happening to you, which interact with your next action. What are you going to do? And so on and so forth with different things. As humans, we react according to what is in our environment, our culture, our society, and we make choices according to those decisions. Also, our teaching as we grew up, what family we grew up, and all those things we come to learn, and we have to make one conscious decision. What will we do in life? Will we do good things or will we do bad things? We also have the option of doing a little bit of both, but it's all up to the individual. Now, if movies were to focus on this solely, their story would be simpler to understand, to write, and to promote. Why? Because it makes it relatable to humans all over the world. Every culture, it doesn't matter where you're from, there is someone who gets angry. There's someone who is happy. There's someone who is sad. And there are reasons why, because their circumstances makes them feel a certain way. That's the story that we want to know. That's the story that we need to hear. What about in that culture is interesting enough to make into a movie? What in that culture is beautiful enough to represent something that people need to know and experience? Something out of this world, a story, an imagination, something that we've never heard before, but it has those connections that humans relate to. Something that causes someone to get jealous. Someone that causes someone to have envy. Someone that wants to be happy for another person. Someone who's willing to sacrifice things. Certain things that make us human is the target for movies to be great once again. Now, hopefully this is something that we see in the future, which right now it's kind of hard to predict what will be in the future since this year was all about testing, in my opinion. We tested trends, we tested box offices, we tested political correctness, we tested everything in the field that we could, even strategies of how to make money through movies so that we could come up with some revenue to even make more movies. How do we keep these stories going? That's going to be the process of 2024, the way that I'm seeing it, with all these new movies coming out and remakes, live action movies that could either be a big fail like we saw in 2023 or could be a huge success. Again, it all depends where they're going. But if they continue to make movies the way they've been making it in 2023, then be assured that these movies will not be great in the future to come. However, if so happens that someone in the film industry sees this video and takes the advice that I'm giving, I hope they do, we will be seeing better movies, effective movies that will resonate with people and their cultures. And once again, we will have classic movies we will be wanting to watch over and over throughout time. Don't forget to leave your comments. What do you think will help the movie industry move forward to make greater movies? Thank you so much for being with us today, and don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see more videos like today. Until next time, my name is John, and stay filmy, and we'll see you on the next video.